Hopefully, this is the last video that I have to do for this person. Very tired right now. Very much want to go to sleep right now. So, like, you can see the redness in my eyes. Like, I don't want to, like, if I was just doing this to defame this person or fuck up their reputation, I promise you I would not be up right now. I promise. Um, but this is hopefully the last part. I hope that you all thoroughly enjoyed this video. Um, I hope that you all learn how to decode dreams from this video, learn how to trust your intuition from all of these videos, not just this one. Um, Learn how to build a relationship with God for yourself, by yourself, and learn the importance of solitude. If you all enjoyed this video, please be sure to share, comment, and like if you like. Also, if you have any questions or you find that anything needs clarity, please be sure to comment that down below as well. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, night, or afternoon. And yeah, peace. Okay. My microphone is on. I am going to do my best to make this as quick as possible because I know how important time and energy exchange is to you. But walking away from our conversation made me feel as though I wasn't protecting my inner child in the way that I should have. So I'm making this screen recording for the sake of potentially reestablishing high vibrational understanding and peace within our relationship, as well as to protect my inner child and stand up for myself with something that I feel like wasn't quite fair. So I want to go back to our messages. And let's go here. So here I initiated a conversation about something that is important to me. Something that's not frivolous, something that's not just me talking just to talk, something that is important to me and has actually been burdening me. So I wanted to initiate this conversation because this topic was burdening me so much that it caused me to have an emotional breakdown. And I know for me personally, when I get into those states, coming up with logical, practical solutions and finding plans for things is what helps me feel secure in those moments. So I discussed this with you, being that, you know, your services are a part of this. And this is the conversation that I initiated. You responded. We were talking back and forth for a bit, and we stopped here. I also want to say this message began at 10:37:38. You responded at 10:38, and you got this message at 10:48. So that was only 10 minutes of talking. 10 minutes I know can be a lot for you, but If we were in person, this wouldn't be even a 1 minute conversation. So, you said this, which was essentially that your guides told you to stop responding to me. And I just want to read it really quickly. My guides just told me to save this conversation for our phone call because I'm using too much time adding to your perceptions. And you also said, I'm just following directions. So, you said that at 10:48, and after this, I was still, were actually, when you sent that, I was still reading messages that you sent because, yes, I can be a bit of a slow reader. But I was also at work too. I wasn't really doing anything at the time at work, but sometimes I do try to look up to make sure that people don't see me on my phone. But that's neither here nor there. I'm a slow reader regardless, but I was still reading your messages. And I just want to count the number of times that you sent me a message after your guys told you this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You also asked me a question. So I just want to, this is what I want to say. Everything that you message me, everything that I messaged you after initiating the conversation was in response to messages that you had already sent me. So you asked me a question. Asking someone a question causes a conversation to continue. If you were following directions, the conversation would have ended here, and there would have been, after that was me responding to a message that you sent, responding to a message that you sent, responding to a message that you sent. If you were following directions after this part, the conversation would have ended. I would have said these things. You could have chose to like them, heart them, or not say anything at all. You could have chose to mute me. I wasn't going to just keep sending you messages just to harass you or just out of boredom or anything like that. Again, I was only responding to messages that you sent me. So after you sent me this message, you sent another paragraph. You sent these things. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And I'm even going to count these because regardless, this is still you using your free will to message me, then also blaming me for messaging you. So you see how that's kind of fucked up? You said to me, please don't hit me with you don't have to text me back about a phone I paid for, please. So I want you to understand that anytime that I've messaged you, that was coming from a place of empathy. I know that you've been burdened with breaking things down to me or just simply communicating with me in general. And anytime, Spirit can attest to this if they like, anytime that I have sent you that is because I did not want you to feel burdened. It's because I did not want to argue. And I just didn't want the conversation to continue into something unproductive. So that was why I would text you that. But basically what you're saying here is, please don't tell me how to use my free will. Please don't try to control me and what I do with something that I possess. But here, let's see. Here you did just that to me. You said, please stop texting me, telling me what to do. When again, I was only responding to messages that you sent me. I wasn't just adding things. If anything, you added something by asking me a question after your guys told you to refrain from talking to me. Please leave me alone. Disrespectful, petty, because I'm responding to messages that you sent. When it's like a double standard. Like, you can use your phone to text me, but I can't do it with you. When I'm not even adding things, I'm just responding and wrapping things up. It's petty and immature. Kind of somewhat insults. You're disrupting my personal time. Am I disrupting your personal time, or are you disrupting your own personal time? I'm confused because you can mute me. You could have simply been like, oh, I had made another voice clip, so I already muted you. But you could have simply been like, boom, and muted me. You could have temporarily blocked me. That's something I would have accepted. And maybe that's what your spirit is meant to. You could have simply ignored my messages. And you doing these things and me suggesting for you to do these things is not me trying to tell you what to do. But I'm saying, if you want peace, if you don't want to interact with me, then don't. And I'm open to talking at a later time. No one's holding a gun to your head saying text me. You're never obligated to text me. Never. Never. So, it just kind of made me feel uncomfortable. And I feel like me not saying anything is like self-harm. It's like me putting a knife to my wrist and hurting myself, because this is not correct. This is not fair. I also wanted to look up the definition of stonewalling. I'm going to try to hurry up because, yeah, I don't want to hear anything about time. Stonewalling involves refusing to communicate with another person and withdrawing from the conversation to create distance between the individual and their partner. Intentionally shutting down during an argument, also known as the silent treatment, can be hurtful, frustrating, and harmful to the relationship. That's not exactly the version that I learned about, but we're going to say this is reverse stonewalling. So instead of you being recoiling, high vibrationally recoiling, not in the way that that term used it. Instead of you recoiling, high vibrationally in a non-mean way, ignoring my messages until you want to talk on the phone or till you have the time to get to them. You are telling me that I don't have permission to respond to messages that you sent. And again, I could see if this was a scenario such as the times where I went to your website in the chat box, in the question box, just to send shit, just to send it. Shit that didn't even matter. Shit that was just, totally, utterly from a bad place, things like that. But what I initiated was something important, a solution, me proposing a solution to what was burdening me. Granted, it may not have been a solution that was completely in alignment with what the Most High has planned for me, but that's something I would have been able to get clarity about over the phone or just while praying to my guide. So it's not like I'm just, texting you bullshit, but you are talking to me as if, like, you proceed to message me. You even ask me a question, and then you tell me that I'm being a vampire, an energy vampire to energy that you are willingly providing.
said, I think you may be reading my questions a little too fast, although in some of them I could have been more specific. You said, you explained how we all have shadow spirits, which I thoroughly understand and embrace. However, regarding my question on behalf of Jada, I wanted to know if the ancestors and spirits that told her to tell me were low frequency spirits. Some people don't know how to properly call ancestral spirits and call uninvolved ones, unevolved ones, unbeknownst to them. I just wanted you to confirm that the ancestors and spirits that told her to say that were bad or low frequency. Well, I understand what you're asking. I don't think it's that I'm misunderstanding. Because it's kind of like it answers itself. Because since we all have, I'm not even talking about like, I don't know how to explain that. Because I get what you're saying too. Because you're basically saying you understand what I'm talking about being made up of good and bad. So I guess that's kind of how I came across, because I was saying that we're both made up of good or bad. But the ancestors typically, and I'm still going to ask the question in the way that you asked it, so that you can, so we get clarity on that. But how do I put that? Nothing can really, it depends. It really depends on who it is and the situation. But most of the time, a person already has to be on that frequency.
Okay, so for this part of the reading, I just want to say I have different opinions than the reader has in this one. The reader is saying that the person typically has to be on that frequency in order to invite low vibrational spirits in. I personally, due to being under spiritual attack and due to my own experiences, believe that that is not the case. I believe that can be a factor for why low vibrational beings are able to get inside of your energetic field, but that's not something that's all across the board, in my opinion. People who are very high vibrational can undergo spiritual attack, as well as people who are also low vibrational and unaware of certain things. So it's kind of a spectrum. It's not just one or the other, in my personal opinion. But we have two different opinions, but the reading that she still gave regarding the questions that she answered about Jada are still very accurate and have been confirmed directly from God and my Madalas to me. So
For a spirit like that to guide them. Now, if a person is young, they're more susceptible to being influenced by things. If a person is at their lowest, they're more susceptible to be influenced by things that isn't of positivity. So, yes, we are both made up of positive and negative energies. But when it comes to spirits, and which is what you're speaking on, external from us, it depends on if they're already able to just be influenced by that. That's what I'm trying to explain it to where it makes sense. Like, I'm pretty sure there would be a lot of spirits around me that will want to influence me to say something or to do something, that isn't in a positive direction. But because I'm pretty stable in my spirit, they couldn't influence me. It just, because there's been times where I've been wanting to do some things, get myself into trouble. But because of the ancestors that I work with, and because of my history anyway, it's hard to influence me anyway. But let's just ask the question so that we can get a clear understanding, because I get what you're saying. I guess it's that term that like light attracts light, dark attracts dark. It's like you are what you attract. Sometimes the opposites attract, but it just depends on if your mindset is already there. So nothing basically could influence her unless she wanted to be influenced, or unless she's at a weak state. Because some people are at that too, where they're not healed and things of that nature. So it's easy for a spirit to come in and influence you. That's when it's like unbeknownst to you, like you don't know about it. Um, but typically, you already have to be on a certain frequency to allow that to come in. Okay, but anyway, let's go ahead and ask. They say you already know the answer. So this means yes. I mean, I don't even know if this is the ancestors. I truly don't put too much on the ancestors unless you just absorb in some negative ancestors. Because sometimes it's just random spirits. They can be attached to you. And I know this because I have a sibling who can see spirits better than I can, way better, because she sees them like another person beside you, not something that you have to channel into, it's just there, And when she was younger, it was really, really bad because she was at that age. Like I said, when you're young, it's easy to be susceptible to other spirits' influence because of, your kid. So there were things that, I mean, she never did anything to us, but there were some things that she wouldn't do, like she wouldn't speak if the person told her something. It was a spirit that told her that she was ugly, and it was a white man, white. I think it was a white spirit. There was a woman with a knife that would just kind of follow her around. So, it depends. It really depends on who you are. It could be really just any random spirit can come and get into your energy. It doesn't have to be ancestors. Typically, ancestors are for your good. Now, that doesn't mean all ancestors are, but I typically don't just point a finger at the ancestors unless it's just like, because we all got good and bad ancestors. We all do. But, typically it'll be like random spirits that you're connecting to. And sometimes we have ancestors who did really bad things. And those ancestors, typically they can influence you too. Okay. Okay. Darker energies, darker spirits, and ego. Darker energies, darker spirits, and ego. Mm-hmm. So yeah, darker spirits and ego. So the answer would be yes. Okay.
me just be clear. This is not to bash anyone who practices Satanism or anything like that. You know, you can do whatever you want to do. I personally don't resonate with it. It's the fact that not only are you doing it in secret, but you are doing the practices, certain practices against someone, unbeknownst to them, without their consent. You're manipulating, you're gaslighting, you're energy vamping, all to make them feel confused and detached from their own identity so that you can basically live off of them, so that you can corrupt their souls via black magic. And they're praising you thinking, oh my gosh, this person is so great. I want to do everything I can to maintain them. And it's really like they're signing a contract to sell their soul and they don't even know it. That's the issue that I have with the dark aspects of these practices. That's the issue that I have. It's not that the practices exist in general. It's what it's being used for and how it's harming people and corroding their bloodlines.